The American Space Agency has had to postpone the launch of its new Artemis Moon rocket for the second time in a week. The liftoff of the most powerful rocket ever built was called off after a fuel leak was detected. This is the scene live at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida, where technicians there were unable to fix the leak. It was discovered when supercooled liquid hydrogen was being pumped into the craft's storage tanks. And the giant rocket doesn't have anyone on board, but the Artemis program aims to return humans to the moon in 2025.
Thanks, Lakshmi. Well, a disappointing day today, the second postponement in a number of days. This time for a slightly different reason. We had a hydrogen leak on this vehicle, this huge rocket that you see behind me here. They have to fill it with 2.7 million litres of liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen to provide the fuel, the thrust to get it off Earth. And really from the word go this morning, as they tried to fill the tanks, they picked up this leak and they couldn't fix it. They tried all manner of solutions, but nothing worked. And so eventually the launch director here had no choice but to call a scrub, as they call it. So everybody's disappointed. Everybody will have to come back possibly in the next few days. But, you know, NASA is pleading for patience from everybody, as I discussed with the astronaut, Zena Cardman.
It's kind of a fickle substance, and so the fact that we are able to get this much data is really, really helpful, and I think we'll be able to resolve this issue in the future. Every time we encounter an issue, that makes us that much wiser the next time.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you have a personal interest in the sense that you or your friends, your colleagues, will have to climb on top of this rocket in the future, and so got to get it right, in essence, yeah?
That's exactly right. Of course, Artemis 1 is an uncrewed mission. That means no astronauts on board. But the very next flight, Artemis 2, will have 4 astronauts riding to the moon and back. And so it's very, very critical. Of course, I feel that, but I think anybody feels that way, that we really need to get it right.
Now, it's not a case, is it, that the rocket can just come back tomorrow? There are constraints on the whole recycling process of getting the rocket ready. Just explain that to me.
That's correct. Every time we turn around, it depends on the reason that we scrubbed, and so sometimes that might be just due to weather and then the rocket's ready to go, but we have some consumables, things that get filled and boil off, or it takes time to refill those consumables, and so it's usually a couple days turnaround. We right now have another attempt on the schedule for Monday, but we'll just see what happens when they analyze the data.
One of the constraints on this vehicle is the flight termination system. So were this rocket to veer off course during a launch, they would destroy it. And that has an independent battery system that is only good to the middle of this coming week. So unless they get off on Monday or Tuesday, if they try again, then they will have to bring it back to the vehicle assembly building here, and they will have to check that battery system and make it good for another launch attempt in a few weeks' time. Well, I'm joined now by Libby Jackson from the UK Space Agency. She directs the agency's human spaceflight program. And Libby, yes, another disappointment.
Indeed, but as you said, this is a test flight and we expect these things to go wrong. I know that all the engineers are working hard, and it is absolutely right that we get this rocket off the ground when it's safe to do so. And you don't want any rogue hydrogen spewing out in the wrong place and setting fire when you've got that much explosive material powering this massive rocket, the most powerful rocket ever, into space.
And I guess that the thing that should be underlined here is that this is brand new technology. I know there are some shuttle components, you know, the heritage that comes from the space shuttle, but an awful lot of it is brand new.
It's been years, decades in the development, a team of hundreds of thousands of people right around the world, as well as the NASA rocket. On top of this is the Orion capsule, but also the European Space Agency service module. They're an integral part of this mission. The UK is a proud member of the European Space Agency, and so we really are looking forward to this getting off the ground and the UK playing its part in the Artemis program in the coming years.
How much pressure will the US Space Agency feel? A lot of expectation, you know, huge numbers of spectators here in Florida lining the beaches and causeways, waiting to see this huge rocket go up. How much pressure are they under to make this happen?
NASA manages the engineers, everybody in that team. They've done this before. They've had space shuttles over the year come out to the pad and have problems, roll them back. They know what they're doing, and they will not let any public opinion sway them in the pursuit of safety. And that's what this is all about. We want to get it right. This is a test. They're working their way through the problems, and they're learning all the time. So they'll be quite comfortable. They'll be cool-headed, and we will get into space when the time is right.
And how do you think the astronauts are feeling? Because ultimately, they'll have to climb on top of this, won't they? I know it's uncrewed for this particular maiden flight, but eventually it will be carrying astronauts.
They will, and they will be taking it all in their stride. Rockets are notoriously challenging creatures. Launches move all the time. I often say the best time to plan your holiday is when you expect the launch to go, because it will move. And so they'll be looking on. They also will want to make sure that this thing is completely safe, that it's good to go, and that everything is being done in a careful and considerate manner.
Libby Jackson from the UK Space Agency there. Thank you very much. Well, we'll see what happens. We should get an update from NASA in the next couple of hours to tell us whether or not they're going to try on Monday or Tuesday. Back to the studio.